This video is going to walk you through the second part of lesson 4.4. Your textbook's way of solving a logarithmic equation when you have a log on one side is to exponentiate each side of the equation. So what they're doing is they're making the equation become the exponents on a like base. For the natural log, your base is going to be e. Once you do that, then basically the e and the ln of x knock each other out to just become x. So you have a property that says that e to the ln of x is just x. I tend to do something a little bit differently. For example, I know that the ln of x is log base e, and then I will go, my base is e to the exponent 3 equals x. So I tend to do it that way instead. Today we practice just writing our answers without a calculator. That way you're more prepared for the semester final. Okay, so on part A, I know that a natural log has a base of e. I know my exponent is 2, and it will equal x. So that one's done. On part B, you need to do something with the 4. You basically have two options. You can move it as an exponent, or you can divide by 4. So either way will get you the correct answer. So if I go with the way on the left, if it's just a logarithm, that's base 10. My power is 11 equals x minus 6 to the 4th. I undo taking something to the 4th power by a 4th root, just like you undo squaring by taking a square root. A 4th root is the same thing as that notation. I'm just using fractional notation because of the exponents. On the right, the 4 and the 1/4 knock each other out. They become 1 when you multiply. So I have x minus 6 equals 10 to the 11 over 4.
Plus 115 plus 115.
We're multiplying the 11 and the 1/4 together. Then I add 6 over. And there's my answer. I would get the same thing on the other side if I just start with my base of 10, my exponent of 11 over 4 equals x minus 6, add the 6 over, and I'll have that answer back. On C, I have one log on each side, so I can drop them. This is a 1-to-1 property that I'm using. And x would be 2. Now, you want to start getting into the habit of checking your answers. Whenever you put your x value back in, you want to make sure that what you're taking the log of stays positive. So 5x minus 1 would be 5 times 2 minus 1, which is 9. I can take the log of 9. You just want to make sure that this whole quantity right here is positive whenever you plug in your x value. If it checks, please circle the answer. On D, I see that I have 2 logs on one side and 1 log on the other. My goal is to get
114, 114, 114.
My goal is to get 1 logarithm on each side. And I'm going to do that by condensing these 2 logs on the left. Once I've done that, I can drop the logs off of each side because it's a 1-to-1 situation. 1 log on each side. I can multiply both sides by 5. And solve for x. Again, I want to be sure that this stays positive and this stays positive when I put 2 in for x. It does, so we're good to go. Here's e. Again, I have two logs on one side, so I'm going to condense them, and this time it's multiplication because I'm originally adding. I'm going to now have to switch it to an exponential because I don't have a log on the other side. 10 as my base, 1 as my exponent. I'm distributing now. I'm going to set it equal to 0. And I'm going to factor it. Hi. And so to factor it, I'm going to do my x, and I'll have a 5 and a negative 4. And if you're doing bottoms up, make sure that you complete the process. So I would have to divide by 2. So my factors are x minus 2 and 2x plus 5. Which gives me answers of 2 and negative 2 over 5. Oh, I have that upside down, guys. Let me fix that. Negative 5 over 2. I need to make sure that this is positive and this stays positive when I plug in either x value. It's good for the 2, but the negative 5 halves will not work. I cannot take the log of a negative number, so I toss that one out. On F, same idea. 2 logs on one side, we're going to condense first.
107 and 116. 107 and 116.
And then I don't have a log on the other side, so I have to switch it to an exponential. I'm going to FOIL. I'm going to move everything to one side. I'm going to factor. And then again, I'm going to check. This has to stay positive and this has to stay positive.
That's 123, but 123 and the boys basketball bus is here. Boys basketball bus is here.
The 0 does not check, but the 3 does. You have 5 practice problems to do, and we did number 11 together. So I'll just walk you through the steps for number 11 real quick. There's also a web assignment that you need to complete as well. For number 11, the first step that we did here, this is our first step, we condensed with division. And our second step here, we wrote it as an exponential. Multiplied both sides by x plus 1. Distributed e squared. And then what we had to do was we took any term with x in it to one side. So I moved this term right here over to the right hand side. And then on this right here, for that step, I factored out an x. Then I divided, and then we checked it. We used some reasoning skills to figure out that x would be a negative value. And you can't take the log of a negative number. So we had to discredit the solution and say no solution. If you're not convinced that what I crossed out is negative, you're welcome to put it in your calculator. But we rounded e to about 3, and we said on top that's roughly 9. And then on the bottom we'd have 1 minus 9. So basically we have a positive over a negative, which is a negative, and you can't take the natural log of a negative. That's the end of your video.